Have you ever heard of a player who feels no pressure at all? Someone who takes a penalty like he's just practicing in his backyard? Who controls the game with the calm of a veteran, even though he's only 23? Today's story is about Cole Palmer, the Iceman, the attacking midfielder who's shocking the world with his talent, his unbelievable calm, and above all with that historic performance that silenced PSG in the Club World Cup final. 2 amazing goals, pure confidence. A name football won't forget anytime soon. Stay until the end. You'll see why Palmer is already one of the deadliest young players in the game today. Cole Palmer was born in Manchester, and like many kids in the city, he grew up supporting Manchester United. If you dig a little on social media, you can even find old photos of young Palmer proudly wearing the Red Devils shirt. But fate had other plans. The boy ended up starting his path at Manchester City, their rivals. In 2010, at just 8 years old, he joined City's academy in the under-8s and climbed step by step through the ranks. By the 2019-2020 season, he was already captain of the under-18 team, showing not only skill, but leadership. However, the road wasn't easy. Since he was 14, there were doubts about his physique. Many thought he was too skinny to handle professional football. At 16, some coaches even suggested he be let go. But that's when Jason Wilcox, City's academy director at the time, stepped in. He believed in Palmer's potential and refused to give up on him, a decision that, looking back, was absolutely the right one. On September 1st, 2023, Cole Jermaine Palmer made one of the boldest and smartest moves of his career. He left Manchester City, the reigning Champions League winners, for Chelsea, a club in rebuild mode but still carrying the weight of a Premier League giant. Signing the contract sent a clear message. He no longer wanted to be a supporting player. The deal was long, 7 years, with an option for 1 more season. A big, long-term investment that showed Chelsea's trust in the young number 20. The transfer cost the London club $40 million, potentially rising to $42.5 million with performance bonuses. At the time, many thought it was risky. After all, Palmer had few appearances with City's first team and was still seen as a promising talent, not a confirmed star, but time would prove that Chelsea made a masterstroke, and fast. Palmer barely had time to meet his new teammates. The very next day, September 2nd, 2023, he made his Chelsea debut. He came on in the 62nd minute at Stamford Bridge against Nottingham Forest. The result? A 1-0 loss. A bitter start, in a team still searching for identity and chemistry. But anyone paying attention could see it. Even with limited time on the pitch, Palmer was already showing flashes of brilliance, game vision, calm on the ball, and a personality beyond his years. This was just the beginning of his journey. Just over a month later, on October 7th, the first special chapter of this new story began. In an away game against Burnley, Palmer stepped up to take a penalty, and did it with amazing calm, like he had 200 games of experience. It was his first goal for Chelsea, and the composure he showed already hinted at the nickname he would later earn, Iceman. But he didn't stop there. In the same game, Palmer set up Nicholas Jackson for the final goal in a 4-1 win. He was directly involved in 2 of the 4 goals. And remember, he wasn't even a guaranteed starter yet, but as the English say, form is temporary, class is permanent, and Palmer's class was starting to shine. What few people know is that Palmer almost quit competitive football at 15. At Manchester City's academy, some coaches thought he was technical but too slow, but he bet everything on physical development and game intelligence. He even worked with specialists on cognitive decision-making to speed up his reactions with and without the ball. This kind of dedication, away from the spotlight, is what shaped the player who was starting to emerge at Chelsea. After just 2 months at the club, Palmer was already catching more attention than some of the expensive signings from previous transfer windows. His mix of youth, confidence, and the ability to make decisions in tight spaces made him stand out in a squad full of hopefuls, but still lacking technical leadership. And the fans, who were skeptical at first, began to notice something different about this young player. He seemed to be in control, even in the most intense moments. On November 6, 2023, Cole Palmer proved he doesn't shy away from big games. In fact, it's like he waits for them. The stage? One of the hottest Premier League derbies, Chelsea versus Tottenham. Heavy rivalry, high tension, a stadium full of energy. And guess who stole the show? That's right, the Iceman. At just 21 years old, he didn't flinch. He scored a goal and provided an assist in a 4-1 win over Spurs. He showed veteran-level personality, game vision, composure, and intensity. He didn't look like a young player in the squad. He looked like he owned the team. The performance was so solid that the next day, analysts and former Premier League players already listed him as one of the names of the season. The English media, always hungry for new heroes, turned the spotlight on Cole Palmer, and the best was yet to come. Just 6 days later, on November 12th, the story got even more dramatic, like something out of a movie. Chelsea versus Manchester City, Palmer's former club, the team where he grew up, trained, dreamed, and left searching for opportunities. The stage, Stamford Bridge, packed in one of the craziest games of the season. The match was a roller coaster, 4-4 on the scoreboard. In stoppage time, a penalty for Chelsea. Who steps up? Him. Against the very team that let him go. Pressure? Definitely. But Palmer seemed completely in control. He walked to the spot with the same calm as someone getting water in the kitchen, looked at the goalkeeper, took a deep breath, and goal. The stadium erupted. He didn't celebrate wildly, just raised his arms, calm, scanning around as if saying, "You doubted me, now watch." It was clear, Chelsea hadn't just signed a promising youngster, they had acquired a true protagonist. In Chelsea's final match of 2023, an away game against Luton Town, Palmer delivered one of those performances that can change a player's career. For the first time as a professional, he scored 2 goals in a single match. And if that wasn't enough, he also assisted Noni Madueke's goal. It was a hard-fought 3-2 win, crucial for the team, and even more for Palmer. But what really stood out that day wasn't just the stats. It was the celebration. After his first goal, Palmer crossed his arms over his chest, puffed out his chest, and stared at the crowd with an icy gaze. No shouting, no jumping, just ice. That image went viral worldwide. The internet gave him the nickname, the Iceman. From that moment on, the name stuck. Not just because of his calm in penalties, but because of his behavior, his calm under chaos, and the way he controlled the game even when everything seemed out of control. In a time when players lose their heads at every mistake, Palmer did the opposite. If the team got nervous, he dropped back, thought, and organized. If opponents tried to provoke him, he responded with skillful dribbles. If the crowd applied pressure, he answered with a goal. Palmer became the anti-hero of modern chaos, a calm player in the middle of the storm, and all of this at just 21 years old. More than stats, it was Palmer's attitude that caught attention. He didn't need to shout to be heard. He just needed to touch the ball, show up at the right moments, and be cold. After that game against Luton, Palmer didn't just become a regular starter. He became the team's technical and emotional reference. From that moment, Chelsea played around him, and the fans? They had their new idol. On January 23, 2024, Cole Palmer did what was becoming routine. He decided the game. The stage this time, the EFL Cup semi-final, a knockout match, total pressure, a place in the Wembley final on the line. The opponent was Middlesbrough, a championship team surprising everyone in the tournament. But when the game started, there was no upset, no balance. Chelsea 6, Middlesbrough 1. And of course, Palmer was the protagonist once again. He scored 2 goals, controlled the attacking midfield, and even in a game that seemed easy, he didn't ease off. Because a top player treats a semi-final like a final. The most impressive part, he made it look effortless. Calm, precise, with a natural scoring instinct. That icy, no-frills attitude, a true Iceman. Less than 2 weeks later, on February 4th, Chelsea faced one of their most frustrating games of the season. At home, they were defeated 4-2 by Wolverhampton, in a day where nothing seemed to click for the team. But even with the team struggling, Palmer shone individually once again. He scored his 10th Premier League goal of the season, reaching a historic milestone. He became the first Chelsea player aged 21 or under to reach double digits in goals in a single Premier League season. Think about it. Chelsea has had stars like Eden Hazard, Oscar, Mason Mount, Joe Cole, and none of them achieved this at that age. Palmer was writing his own story, in golden ink. On February 29, 2024, Palmer received formal recognition. He was named Young Male Player of the Year at the London Football Awards, one of the most prestigious awards in British football, especially among London clubs. This award has been won by stars like Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, players who went on to reach even greater heights. Now it was Palmer's turn to lift the trophy, smiling with his quiet, almost shy style. But on the pitch, he is pure decision-making. The best part? The award is decided by a mix of experts, journalists, former players, and coaches. People who truly understand football, and who recognize the impact Palmer was having in a challenging season for Chelsea. On April 4, 2024, Cole Palmer received his second nomination for the Premier League Player of the Month. Not bad for someone who, not long ago, was considered just a youth prospect. The nomination came after a strong March, 3 goals and 2 assists, showing that Palmer was more than a one-time spark. He was becoming a consistent presence among the league's best. But what no one expected was that the same day would bring one of the biggest moments of his career, arguably one of the biggest moments in Chelsea's recent history. Hours after the nomination, Palmer stepped onto the field against Manchester United, the club he supported as a child growing up in Wythenshawe, a working-class neighborhood in Manchester. Chelsea was losing 3-2 until stoppage time, and that's when the story became legend. In the 10th minute of stoppage time, Palmer scored the equalizer. 2 minutes later, he turned the game around and completed a hat-trick, a rare feat in professional football. Chelsea won 4-3, in a match that instantly went down in the record books. Palmer entered another kind of history, the Premier League's record books. He became the 200th player to score a hat-trick in the competition since 1992. And more, he was the 3rd youngest player ever to score a hat-trick against Manchester United, a moment that speaks volumes about the magnitude of what he achieved. If football has a poetic side, this match was pure sports literature. A boy who grew up supporting United, underestimated by City, seeking his space at Chelsea, and deciding one of the most epic games of the season against his childhood club. If anyone thought the show against United was a fluke, Palmer proved them wrong. On April 15, 2024, less than 2 weeks later, he completely destroyed Everton at Stamford Bridge, a masterclass performance, scoring 4 goals in a 6-0 victory. Yes, 4, one more than a hat-trick. With this, Palmer joined an extremely exclusive list. He became the 31st player in Premier League history to score 4 or more goals in a single match, a list with legends like Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Mohamed Salah, and Harry Kane, and he did it at just 21 years old. While the number is impressive, the most remarkable part was how he did it. Perfect movement, intelligence to find the right spaces, and clinical finishing. Every goal felt like a message to anyone who still doubted him. With this performance, Palmer broke another club record. He became the first Chelsea player to score 2 hat-tricks in a single Premier League season. Not Didier Drogba, not Frank Lampard, not Diego Costa, not Eden Hazard. None of them achieved this feat in the blue shirt in the world's top league. At that moment, if there was any doubt about his status, it was buried forever. After those 2 games, Palmer's name was discussed on a whole new level. He was no longer the young talent with potential. He was one of the most decisive players of the English season, one of the most lethal midfielders in the league, and a key figure of a new generation. With a mix of calm, precision, and rare game intelligence, Palmer established himself as one of the most important players in the post-Hazard era at Chelsea, and his ceiling is still higher. On May 5, 2024, Cole Palmer wrote another chapter that already feels eternal. Chelsea faced West Ham at Stamford Bridge and delivered a 5-0 thrashing, a true football masterclass. But among the flood of goals, one had a special weight: Palmer's. With that goal, he reached a milestone reserved for very few players: 30 direct goal contributions in a Premier League season, goals plus assists, at just 21 years old. To put it in perspective, in the league's history, only 2 other players this young had achieved this before him, legends like Wayne Rooney and Cesc Fabregas, who reached stardom at an early age. Palmer was now part of this elite group. Even before the ball rolled for the 2024-2025 season, news was already buzzing at Stamford Bridge. Cole Palmer had signed a new 9-year contract with Chelsea. 9 years. A deal that runs at least until June 2033, a rare commitment in modern football. It was clear. Chelsea isn't just counting on Palmer for the present. He is the future of the team. The number 20 became a central piece in the club's sporting project. It's no longer just about talent. It's about identity. If anyone thought that contract was an exaggeration, they just had to wait until August 20th, 2024. Palmer was named PFA Young Player of the Year, the award from the Professional Footballers Association of England. A prize that carries special weight because it's voted by the players themselves, the ones who share the pitch with him every week. It means respect, recognition, and confirmation. Palmer was now a reference both on and off the field. This same award has been won by stars like Gareth Bale, Wayne Rooney, Jack Grealish, and Bukayo Saka. Now Cole Palmer's name was there too, alongside the greats. Just 5 days later, on August 25th, Palmer showed that awards don't make him complacent. His fuel comes from elsewhere. In the Premier League season opener against Wolverhampton, Palmer scored a stunning goal at Molineux Stadium. A precise, clean strike with the coolness that has become his trademark. The goal was so beautiful it couldn't be ignored. He won the Premier League Goal of the Month for August. But that game against Wolverhampton had even more in store. In the second half, Palmer delivered a true masterclass in vision and game intelligence. He provided 3 assists, all for Noni Madueke, who completed a hat-trick. To recap, Palmer scored a stunning goal and was directly involved in 4 of Chelsea's 6 goals in a 6-2 away victory on his debut. A complete performance, dictating the pace, creating space, speeding up when needed, slowing down when the team needed to breathe. A full number 10 display, even while wearing number 20. This game was a warning. Cole Palmer was not satisfied with what he had already achieved. He wasn't comfortable being just the breakout star or a fulfilled promise. He wanted more. He wanted to be the protagonist again. He wanted to lead, win, and break new records. It was the start of the 2024-2025 season, but it felt like he was already ahead of his time, a young player with the performance, mentality, and responsibility of a veteran. Few players can keep the same hunger after a stellar season. Palmer didn't just maintain it, he seemed even hungrier. Every game, he demanded more. More goals, more assists, more impact, always with the same calm, focus, and precision, as if everything was under control, even when the world around him was on fire. And this type of personality is rare. It can't be taught. You either have it or you don't. But the best was yet to come. On July 13, 2025, Palmer played what many consider the brightest game of his career so far, the FIFA Club World Cup final in the new expanded format. Chelsea, as Conference League champions, arrived hungry for an international title. The opponent, Paris Saint-Germain. Packed with stars and fresh off a Champions League win, PSG was the tournament favorite. And when the world's eyes were on the big names of PSG, he stole the show. Cole Palmer scored 2 goals, provided 1 assist, and completely dominated the match from start to finish, a cinematic performance. Chelsea won 3-0 with authority, claiming their first Club World Cup title. And of course, Palmer was named man of the match once again. And at the end of the tournament, he received the FIFA Golden Ball as the best player of the competition. There, in a packed stadium and in front of millions of viewers around the world, Cole Palmer reached the symbolic peak of the season. From an underestimated gem in Manchester City's academy to an international star deciding European and world finals, Palmer showed he is not just a fulfilled promise, he is now a recognized name in world football. And the scariest part, he hasn't even reached his peak yet. Today, Palmer is not just a breakout star, he is a solid reality in world football. He earned the respect of his teammates, the admiration of opponents, the love of fans, and the attention of international media. He broke records, lifted trophies, collected awards, all with a striking naturalness, as if it was written in his destiny. And maybe it really was, because players like Palmer appear once in a generation, with a cool mind, subtle touch, and huge impact. If you enjoyed this insane journey of Cole Palmer, smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. And comment below. Do you think Palmer has what it takes to fight for a Ballon d'Or? Or at least, with all those hat tricks, is he already one of the top stars in world football? After all, the Iceman has arrived, and it looks like he's here to stay at the top. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.